Hey, welcome to our explainer. Today we are diving into something called media literacy. And no, this isn't about becoming a cynic who hates everything. It's actually the opposite. It's about taking the keys back and really becoming the architect of your own mind. So let's start with a number. 40,000. That's about how many different products you'll find in an average supermarket. Just let that sink in for a second. It is a total flood of information, of choices, of brands, all screaming for your attention. And yet, you can walk into that total chaos and walk out with a full cart of groceries in, less than an hour. You're making thousands of tiny decisions. Buy this, ignore that, and you do it almost instantly. How on earth is that even possible? Well, the answer reveals a huge secret about how your mind works every single day. Here's the secret. Most of the time, your brain is just running on autopilot. And it has to survive that constant flood of information, not just in the store, but everywhere. Your brain has developed this incredible survival mechanism. It really is like a freeway maze inside our heads, right? A constant jam of signals and noise. And to navigate all that without completely crashing, our brains rely on some seriously clever internal software. So this internal software, it runs on what we can call automatic routines. You can think of them like pre-programmed shortcuts. They're designed to filter out all the junk and make decisions for you based on your past experiences, saving you the energy of having to analyze every little thing you see. Now just scale that up. Our entire modern world is basically a giant supermarket. But instead of cereal and soap, it is packed to the ceiling with media messages. Every time you scroll, every video you watch, every article you click, your automatic routines are there in the background, filtering and choosing for you, usually without you even being aware of it. So if our minds are running on this pre-programmed software, it kind of begs a pretty big question. Who wrote the code? If we're all on autopilot, who's setting the destination? And this, right here, might be the single most important question in media literacy. It's not about whether having an autopilot is good or bad. We need it. The real question is, whose interests does your autopilot serve? Does it serve you, or does it serve someone else? The truth is, a lot of people have had a hand in programming your routines. Your parents and friends, your school, the society you live in, they all contribute. And for the most part, they probably have your best interest at heart. But there are other programmers in the mix too. And here's the crucial difference. Unlike your parents, media programmers and advertisers have a very clear, very specific agenda. Their main goal is to program your automatic routines to serve their objectives. I mean, just think about the algorithms that curate your social media feeds. They are incredibly powerful modern-day programmers designed to get you to buy something or subscribe or maybe even adopt a certain belief. But here's the good news. We can learn to see the code. We can start to take back control. And it starts by recognizing the predictable formulas and patterns that media creators use to make their messages so easy for our autopilots to just gobble up. I mean, think about the common characters you see in movies and TV shows all the time. They're basically formulas, right? They're shortcuts that let a storyteller communicate a whole personality in seconds, so your brain doesn't have to work hard to figure out who's who. And this is so important. We're not just absorbing facts from media. We're absorbing social information. These are the subtle lessons about relationships, about what success looks like, about power. Factual info is just data, but social information shapes how we see the world, and we absorb it from stories without even trying. And hey, it's not just entertainment. The news is also a constructed product. Think about it. Out of all the billions of things that happen in the world on any given day, journalists have to pick just a handful to cover. They're not just showing you reality. They're showing you a version of reality that has been filtered, shaped, and packaged for you. So how do we actually get better at this? It's not about rejecting media entirely. It's about leveling up our skills. Think of it as a journey, from being just a passive consumer who lets their autopilot run the show to becoming a true media connoisseur. This journey happens in stages. Most of us get to what you could call intensive development, which means we can understand the basic messages just fine. And honestly, a lot of people just stop there. They feel like that's enough to get by. But the real power, the real control, that comes in the stages after that.
The ultimate goal is to reach a state of critical appreciation. And this isn't just about being cynical and finding flaws in everything. A connoisseur understands the history, the economics, the artistry behind a message. They can appreciate a really well-crafted piece of media on a much, much deeper level, even if they don't agree with what it's saying. And you know what the best part is? These stages aren't some fixed ladder you have to climb. You can move between them. It all just comes down to conscious effort. When you're watching a mindless sitcom after a long day, you might be on a lower level. But when you're analyzing an important news story, you can choose to shift into that higher gear. It's about having the ability to move up when it really matters. Okay, so let's get practical. How do we actually apply these skills and start becoming the architects of our own information worlds? Well, it starts with understanding the basic rules of the game. A big part of taking control is just seeing the systems that control information in the first place. And one of the biggest battles shaping our digital lives is this constant tension between two ideas: copyright and copyleft. This is really a fight over who gets to control information and how we're allowed to use it.
So on one side, you have copyright, which says a message is a finished product that is owned by one person or company. Think of a blockbuster movie or a hit song. But on the other side, you've got copyleft. This idea sees information as something that should be shared and should evolve. Think of open source software, or even Wikipedia, where a whole community is constantly improving the creation. Just understanding this conflict helps you see the invisible forces that shape what you see every day.
So the bottom line is, you have way more power than you think. Taking control really just starts with small, conscious actions. Does your media diet actually align with your values? If not, change it. Unfollow the accounts that make you feel bad about yourself. Unsubscribe from stuff you find harmful. These things might seem small, but they are the first real steps to reprogramming your own mind. Look, this isn't about changing the entire media landscape overnight. It's about changing your personal relationship with it. By taking responsibility for what you let into your head, you start to reclaim this incredible sense of agency and control over one of the most powerful forces in modern life. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Think for a second about your big expectations in life for things like romance or college or what your career should look like. Now, ask yourself honestly, where did those ideas really come from? Were they programmed by you, or were they programmed by the thousands of stories you've been told your whole life?